Alright, so in this video I'm going to be basically analyzing and giving tips on a Riven top against a Mundo. Now this is a game where the Riven's team does win, but that's partly because the Orianna ends up with a score of 25-4 or something ridiculous like that. Partly because of very good Vi ganks mid during the early game. But what's important to note here is that Riven's going to lose top lane, and that she's never going to really recover top lane. Even in the later parts of the game, when her team is extremely far ahead, there's going to be a moment where Mundo is basically pushing top, and Riven's trying to hold the inhib tower from Mundo, and she can't. Even though her team is far ahead, Riven is still far behind, to the point where her team has to come up and help her basically hold the inhib turret from Mundo, and in doing so, they end up losing their inner mid turret. But that's just a point in the game that you'll see later on. For now, I'm just going to focus on just general laning mechanics, sort of build order, and just some other small things. I guess not really small, but just other things that concern the laning phase in the mid game, and try to keep this as much of a sort of tip-oriented, like how to play sort of video, rather than just analysis where I point out mistakes and just poke at them. So I don't know what's taking this so long to load. I'm gonna go ahead and pause it, or at least pause my recording for right now. Unlabeled download spectator data. Okay, I'm gonna read. Alright, so first thing I'm gonna say is that I'm mostly a macro-oriented player, meaning I like to apply general concepts, or I like to learn and practice general concepts. And a lot of my skill in League has come out of learning these general concepts and practicing them constantly and just applying them. I believe League is a game where a lot of it comes out of, at least up until Gold League, it doesn't really matter what champion you play, because up until at least Gold, you lack a lot of general concepts. And these general concepts can be applied by any champion. And once you learn these concepts, you can theoretically play any champion and get out of bronze. Even if it's the first time that you're playing, like, I don't know, Shaco. You could even lane with Shaco in bronze. But if it's the first time you're playing with that champion, but you understand a lot of general game mechanics, then you should be able to do very well. And so I'm saying that because this video is going to highlight a lot of mechanical mistakes. There's going to be a lot of errors in understanding of the lane. So first thing is you need to come down here and help Vi. Personally, I wouldn't start red side if I was on purple, partly because top lane is usually the gank you want to, the lane you want to gank first, and so you generally want to start blue if you're on purple side, and then eventually work your way up to your red, and eventually gank top, or possibly go mid, because bottom's the hardest to gank, and top is generally a lane that you can gank pretty easily. Also, you're hitting this, you didn't even help him with red. What the heck? You hit this small minion here. You didn't. What? Okay, so that. Okay. I'm just gonna let that go. So you get in the lane. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and pause this video. The way you lane, whether it's mid lane or top lane, even bottom lane, is there's two types of stances. Actually, I might as well just specifically talk about top lane, since some of the stances don't exactly work in bottom lane. So the first is that there's trading stance and there's CS stance. And for top lane, when you're playing a melee champ against another melee champ, it's more or less the same, because you have to be in melee range to CS and to harass usually. And so take into account these two minions. All of your minions are shooting this minion right here, and all of his minions are shooting this one. One thing you'll notice is that your minion's going to die first. And so what you can do is you can stand by this minion. I mean, you're going to have to be here eventually anyway, because all your minions are shooting this one. But if you watch this minion's health, and this is where it gets a little tricky because being able to watch two minions at the same time and watch the lane opponent and eventually like be looking at the mini map, all these things require a lot of attention and you may not really have that sort of skill developed yet, but that's something you have to work towards. But since you know your minion's going to die first, you can time it so that you can start walking towards this minion as it's about to die. And if Mundo goes up to CS this minion, then what you can do is you can hit him. And that's essentially a free trade. And the reason why it's a free trade is because his auto attack will be on cooldown. As soon as he comes up and hits this minion to try to get the CS, his auto attack will be on cooldown, so you can auto attack him or, blow a series of spells, especially since you're Riven, blow some sort of combo on him and punish him for coming up here and trying to take this minion when you're standing right next to it. And his only retaliation back is going to have to be in spells because his auto attack will be on cooldown. And so if you can do a quick sort of engagement on him and then back off before his auto attack's back on basically off cooldown, then you can win that trade. So let's see what happens here. I actually don't remember. Okay, so you went up and this is pretty bad. So now that both these minions are about the same health, then ultimately what you're doing is you are freezing the wave in some way. You're trying to like, freeze, keep the minions at relatively same amount of health, but there's no real reason to, because there's other ways you can do it. You don't actually have to specifically hit this one. You can wait till these are dead and the ranged minions are shooting each other, and you wait for like the next wave to come and then try to even it out that way. But now that these are about the same health, you're probably going to be in CS stance the same time he's going to be in CS stance. So you're going to miss like you're going to miss free harass basically. Okay. So both these minions are low. Both you guys have come up. You're here and that's fine. You're using ability. You're going to kill it. Okay. Right. So both of you guys got the CS. This is actually pretty good on your part. Except the only problem is that he's also going to be able to harass you back. So you hit him, but you also took relatively, like, I'd say about the same amount of damage because he was ready for it. He was ready for the harass. Whereas if you had just waited, and not tried to even out the lane, not try to even out that minion, if you just wait, because your minion's going to die first, and as he starts walking toward your minion, if you just like walk toward it, then when he goes to CS, you can hit him and then blow your Q combo then, and you'll win that trade. Okay, so here, one thing you'll notice is that you're still taking minion aggro, so when you attacked him, what happened is he backed off, so your minions aren't shooting him anymore, but his minions are still shooting yours. And so since you chased, you're actually going to lose this trade now. I know he does throw a Q and you do get hit by it, but even if he didn't hit you with the Q, I believe these minions hitting you are going to make the trade in his favor anyway. Yeah. So you got chunked pretty hard there. Second thing here you need to notice is that your Vi is down here. And you also see Yi, or you should have seen Yi. And so Mundo doesn't know Vi is in here. But Mundo does know that Yi is over here. You probably should have... Oh, this is actually rough. So you could have come down here. You are almost level 2. Maybe not. Okay, so you're not level 2. Not even close. So you can either help this out or at least start hitting down here because you should know that you guys aren't going to win. Especially since Yi's full health. And so if you can come down here and help Vi out, maybe she can get away. But since you don't, here's what's going to happen. You're still up here farming. And Yi's just kind of killing Vi. Yeah, so Vi's gonna die, and you basically did nothing. I think you could have at least saved Vi there. I mean, it was a close fight. Don't get me wrong. But if you'd come down, either Vi would have gotten away, maybe, or something better could happen. I'm not sure, but you could have definitely helped out there. And so now we're going back to this is a mistake now. So you're basically just shoving top lane using your abilities. You're not even getting CS here with your abilities. You're just hitting bunches of minions with your abilities, and you're not accomplishing much by pushing the wave here. So by using your abilities, you're putting them on cooldown, meaning that if you ever trade harass with Mundo, uh, like in the very short term future, your ability is going to be on cooldown while his aren't. And so you're resorting to auto attacks basically. And Mundo has both auto attacks and abilities. You're also shoving the wave, which means you're going to be pushing the wave closer towards his tower, meaning it's easier for you to get ganked later on. There's really no reason for you to just use abilities to shove the wave like this. I would save my abilities for harass and just kind of auto attack the wave if I really wanted to shove it. But there's no reason for you to auto attack this wave either. Um, you should be looking for more ample opportunities to harass. You should just last hit, auto attack last hit, and then watch, which minion, which friendly minion you have that's being focused by the enemy minions, and then get ready to harass Mundo if he goes to go for the CS. So here you're just kind of shoving away for no reason. You missed that CS. You're just auto attacking here. So you've got level 2. So this is where I'm a little confused, right? You're level 2, you have the level advantage. I mean, that's generally the point of pushing the wave. Um, you have more friendly minions than he does, even if it's only one more friendly minion, but then you back off. Like, if you're going to push the wave for an early level 2, I expect you to all in him and just sort of fight him, especially now that you have a slight minion advantage. But since you're backing off, you're actually not accomplishing anything here other than just shoving the wave toward his tower, and then that turns out bad for you, or that's going to be bad for you, because he can actually kind of lock the wave around here, and if he locks the wave around here, then you're gonna have a shitty laning phase because now you're overextended and you're easy to be ganked. You haven't used your trinket yet, so you don't have a ward out. I mean, there's just so many things that could go wrong. So here, you could still be in lane. First off, you're still level 2. There's no reason to be way over here. If you stood right here, next to this minion, or perhaps like maybe by this minion or somewhere over here where you can move up to get next to this minion. When he goes to take this CS, you can harass him. Alternatively, you can just trade CS because he's probably going to take this and you're going to take this, right? But he's just going to take this minion. You're not even going to get this one. Yeah, so I guess you went and typed something. There's really nothing you should be typing here. You can type, assist me if you want the gank, because you really shouldn't be typing. Assist me is generally the ping that indicates please gank. And so you miss CS and possibility to harass because you went back and typed. And let's check the experience levels here. Okay, so he's basically back up to same amount of experience you are. Any level advantage you gained is essentially lost. Alright, so here you're just sort of auto-attacking. Again, I think you missed that CS. There's really no point to use your abilities and putting them on cooldown. Okay, let's back up slightly. Alright, so right now I'm watching, hang on. Oh no, this is a little bit too far. But here, I'll pause it whenever it gets to the point that I'm interested in. Okay. Alright. These two minions here. This one's low. This one's also low. You're going to be going for one of these soon. Notice what Mundo's about to do. Mundo's going to walk up here, wait for you to CS one of these, and then he's going to hit you. Also because since you've been spamming your abilities, I guess they're already off cooldown. So, yeah, it's a lie. Just ignore what I just said there. But I think you're about to use an ability here, which makes this even more justified. So right here, you're about to CS this minion. Mundo is in perfect trading stance, because he's going to hit you. Notice how this minion isn't being focused by his minions? Maybe it is, I'm not sure. I don't think it is. I think this is actually, cannon minion's actually hitting this. I haven't been paying attention enough, because I've been pausing the video. But as soon as you CS that minion, Mundo hits you. This is exactly how you're supposed to harass in lane. This is perfectly how you're supposed to harass in lane. You wait for your opponent to go for a CS, and if you're not getting a CS at the same time, like he could have easily gotten this one instead, but maybe he knows that he can get this one slightly later. Like there's no blue minion focusing this. So he goes for you instead, and your auto attack is on cooldown. So you can't reliably harass back. So you essentially lost the trade there. Yeah, so this minion's still alive, yeah, so he can get it at some point later. But right here, you go in, there's no reason to use an ability. You shouldn't be using your abilities to get CS here, because you're just putting your abilities on cooldown. So you use an ability to get this cannon minion, Mundo throws his Q and it's going to hit you. Right? Now, I think Mundo's mistake is that he went and also traded an auto attack with you, but so far he still has won this engage. Um, yeah, so as long as you take, so it looks like it evened out, I think, because he's, he should have just like thrown a Q and then like left. But as long as these caster minions keep shooting at you, I think you still lose this trade. Maybe not. Okay, so you shielded, right? So he just stayed too long, but his health was still higher than yours, so he still is slightly ahead. And like I said before, what you're doing is you're shoving the wave for no reason by using your abilities on the minions, and so you're just causing a minion build up over here. And even though this Mundo isn't good at CSing under tower, at least from my first run through of this replay, he seemed to miss a lot. The wave is eventually going to like build up around here, and that's a really bad spot for you to be trying to CS. So you don't want to do that. Right. So this is a point which is going to be pretty obvious. What you do is you essentially go in this bush, and you wait, and use your health potion. So like, this is what I'm talking about. Like you're overextended, right? And also, why are you using abilities to just kind of shove this wave even harder? Um, you could just be auto attacking. I think you use your abilities way too much. But the wave's going to build up around here. It's eventually going to get to his tower and he's going to miss a bunch, but the next wave that comes over is going to collect somewhere around here. And then you're going to go in this bush. You stand in here in this bush and you miss a bunch of CS for basically no reason. Let's see. Right, so okay, so you missed a lot. But like I said, the minion wave is going to build up right here. Alright, so this is a crucial mistake by you. He's still getting CS, you're not. You standing in this bush actually doesn't do anything. Right? So you're just missing CS, you're at 6, he's at 14 and counting. He's also going to get level advantage on you. Because he's level 4, you're level 3. Even though you're getting health back, his health is actually going to be, he's got a Doran's shield, right? So he's gaining health slowly over time, as long as he doesn't take aggro from these minions. And he's also building up a group of friendly minions. So you sitting in this bush is just costing you CS, and it's just costing you friendly minions, right? So by the time you actually go to engage on this guy, he's going to have a level advantage, or at least for the most part he'll have a level advantage, and he's going to have way more friendly minions. And that's going to be really bad for you when you try to engage him. So pretty soon you're going to try to engage him and realize that you're going to lose. Alright, so look at all these blue minions he has. Look at how few like purple minions you have. When you come in right here, so this is a mistake on his part because he ran toward the bush. I would have walked straight down here and fought you because he's level 5, you're level 4, and look at all these friendly minions, right? If all of these turn on you and start hitting you, like if he just walks straight toward you and engages you, when all these turn on you and start shooting at you, you're going to be dead. So it's his mistake to run over here, but you're still getting shot by these, and you're going to get basically chunked, right? Like you're almost dead. You had to shield there, otherwise you would have died. And it's at this point at which you've lost so much in lane. Because you're at 6 CS, he's at 25. A kill is essentially around 18 CS. So he has a kill's worth of CS on you. And level advantage. And with the wave shoved up like this, it's going to reset, right? So eventually this wave's going to die. And the wave's going to, this wave's going to get there. And then the tower's going to shoot him, and then the wave's eventually going to equal out back to the center here. And that's really shitty for you, because you're going to be underleveled, he has way more gold than you, he has a kill's worth of gold on you, and you're just not going to be able to lane very well after that. Right, so CSing under a tower is one thing you need to learn because, yeah, so I wouldn't have burned teleport here. It really doesn't accomplish anything. Basically what he's going to do, he's going to shove this wave in your tower, and then eventually it's going to reset. Right, because your tower's going to kill these. And the wave is going to recollect somewhere. So this isn't exactly the best spot, but eventually it's slowly working its way back toward the middle. Yeah, but at this point, any sort of lead you might have gotten as Riven is nullified because he's got gold advantage, he has level advantage on you, and he has armor. So you're not actually going to be able to shove him out lane now because he has this chain vest. So I want to sort of like speed through this video here. I know there's one instance where you do kill him in lane because he's stupid, but then he comes back and kills you to make up for it, and he's still got the CS lead. Your Orianna's getting some really good ganks mid. She's winning mid, partly because of Vi ganks, or it will be partly because of Vi ganks. But Vi's gonna help snowball mid, so that Orianna's 2-0 lead eventually turns into like 4-0 and then 5-0. But you're still behind on CS. You're way behind on CS. Because you can't really lane against this guy apparently. You didn't build sustain. You came back with 2 long swords instead of like a vamp scepter to help sustain you, to get lifesteal back, or to get health back from lifesteal. So you're basically sitting here farming at tower, which is really not good on your part. I don't know whether you're following a guide or something, but you need to build situationally. Because I think if you have a vamp scepter, I mean you like to auto attack these. Well, not really auto attack. If anything, you should be auto attacking, not using your abilities to shove the wave. But since you like to just hit things in the wave, you should have some lifesteal that helps sustain you. So you're gonna lose your tower essentially like 10 minutes in the game. It's kind of embarrassing. Wow, he almost got executed. Okay, yeah, this is the part where we actually kill him because he's stupid and decided to take a bunch of tower shots earlier. I think this is where you kill him, almost. But you do lose your tower like pretty soon. Alright, so that's the first time you've used your trinket. Okay, so the brutalizer rush. You're not exactly beating this Mundo because he has the chain vest. Probably would have got a vamp scepter. That way you can actually lane. Because you're not actually accomplishing anything here. Like if you were ahead and like killing this guy and you got a brutalizer, then maybe. Yeah, this is where he screws up. And he could have killed you, but he decided to run away instead. Like if he just kept attacking you, he would have won that. Or at least you guys would have traded death for death, kill for kill. But he decided at some point that he was scared and ran away. But now he's got a Sunfire Cave for 12 minutes in the game, and I mean, you don't really have any sustain, so. I'm gonna speed this up 4 times. What'd you come back with? 3 wards. Alright, so this is a sign that you don't ward enough, because you bought 3 wards. A good player doesn't buy this many wards usually. They buy 1 ward at a time. And they place these wards habitually. They place 1 ward habitually over time, constantly, as opposed to just buying 3 and saying this is enough I need for like the next like 10 minutes or something. Because you should get in the habit of always getting a ward, one ward, and then placing it instead of buying three, stocking up, and saying at some point in the game I'm going to drop all three. So that was your fault there. You notice you still don't have any sustain, but you're still like auto attacking minions, so you're not actually getting any sort of health back. Um, and you're just getting chunked by Mundo, and you have this brutalizer that's not actually doing much for you. Yeah. So at this point, Mundo's, yeah, well. Then you're gonna lose your tower. Let's see. Alright, so this is really good, except one problem is you still got 3 wards in your inventory, and you didn't drop any down. Whole team is practically MIA, whole enemy team, except for one. You need to drop this ward. You made the right decision that you need to take their enemy top tower, because you know that since your top tower is gone, Mundo's going to rotate somewhere else. He's either going to rotate bottom, or he's going to rotate mid. And so you do need to get their top tower. This way you can sort of equal out the gold difference and also start rotating as well. But you can't really do this without warding. Now you do get lucky because they don't decide to come top and gank you, but the whole enemy team is essentially MIA, except for mid. And without a ward, then you can't do this safely. You could get punished. You don't get punished, but you could have been. And so you've got 3 wards in your inventory, you need to drop one down. I would probably drop one down. I'd probably put it around here. Because if they try to chase you up here, I think you can get away because you have your E and your Q. You have like ways to jump. But if they come through river, then there's not much you can really do. You can get cut off. So I would have put one in river. So you're gonna. This is, I mean, it's definitely correct to go top and try to take the enemy top tower because Mundo's rotating. Well, should be rotating mid, sort of. But your lack of ward is really sort of a mistake. Your lack of putting a ward, I should say. You still have 3 wards in your inventory that you haven't used. Right, so now this is really good. You guys got dragon. Right, you've rotated bottom. This is really good. Guys should be able to get this turret, I think. Maybe? No, okay, so they push you back. Okay, so Mundo's in your base, taking out stuff. This is what I mean. So, it's 18 minutes in the game, you've got like 70 CS. That's pretty bad. That's worse. That's honestly worse than some Bronze 1 players I've seen back when I was in Bronze 1 like a long time ago. You've got a Brutalizer, you finished boots, you've got a Tiamat, but your overall damage output is not that high. And so you didn't really contribute much. When you went bottom with your team, like you helped that drag, that was good, but then you went bottom and you didn't honestly do that much. I could rewind it and show you that you didn't do that much, but I'm not going to. I saw it in the first run, this replay. You didn't accomplish much of anything by going bottom with your team. Your team could have taken dragon without you going mid / rotating to dragon. Your team would have accomplished just as much without you being down here, because you actually didn't contribute too much. So Mundo's just in here, like in your base, taking out stuff. He has to leave because of Vi, but he does get a bunch of free farm. So he has essentially double your CS, which is pretty disconcerting. Alright. I'm not sure what you're doing here. It's pretty clear that Vi doesn't want you to have red. So I don't know why you came and helped her with red. That doesn't make sense. There's a free wave up here you should be farming. And you should be shoving this wave back, especially since Mundo came and just shoved the wave all the way over here. Why aren't you farming this? You're not going to accomplish much by helping Vi with her buffs, or with her jungle. Rotating mid, this is fine. Yeah. But again, you didn't really do anything, right? Your damage output's not that great, you didn't really accomplish much. You running in their jungle like this headfirst when you're like the weakest member on your team, not really the weakest, but second most weakest member in your team, isn't really accomplishing much here. So there's still a wave top that's building. There's really no reason for you to just kind of chase them into their jungle. You need to get rid of this wave somehow. So this wave is just up here. You're missing tons of free CS. You went bottom for some odd reason. Doesn't really make sense. When you're behind on farm, but your team is ahead, it's a good time for you to catch up on farm. Especially because your contribution to your team is not that great. When you're behind, your team contribution isn't exactly important, right? You're not exactly doing damage because you're underfarmed, but if your team's ahead, you should be taking advantage of the time that you're gaining. Alright, so you're gonna go up here. Do you guys even kill this Mundo? I don't even remember. I don't think you do. I think he actually gets away, because that's how way behind you are. You're not actually doing enough damage to be able to, even with Vi, who's not particularly that far behind. Oh, okay. So you guys do kill them because they were stupid and decided to re-engage. But in doing so, you guys lost mid. This is going to be a theme we see from now on. When your team has to help you, you're going to lose the tower. Because next time Mundo comes top, your team's going to come up here and help you, because you actually can't deal with them. And then they're going to lose this mid tower. So, this is good that you're farming top. Yeah, get that wave clear. You're getting the CS, that's good. Shoving top is good, especially since you guys are kind of dancing around mid. This is really good right here. Alright. So again, lack of wards. You didn't put one in here, you can't actually see them coming, and you get killed. Like, if you're going to push like this, you need to put a ward down. Because you need to be able to see if they can cut you off. And if you see them coming to cut you off, then you can leave early. But without the ward, you can't know until it's way too late. So that's your mistake. Just go ahead and speed this up. So you going bot lane is fine as long as you get the farm. You need to have left, I think. Because you being here actually doesn't do anything. I don't know why you're seeing this bush. You can't take Yasuo. Actually, maybe you can. Let me think about this. Wow, you guys are actually pretty close. I didn't realize Yasuo was also this far behind. Okay. But you sit here and try to get a kill and you get wrecked. Of course, it gets worth because Orianna came down, but you still died because you can't really take on both those. Meanwhile, Mundo is up here taking this. Mundo's just kind of been free farming all game. He actually almost has like double your CS. It's interesting. Why you're taking red, I don't know, because you're not doing that much damage right now. Yeah, so your positioning isn't that great. You tend to run in first, which is kind of what this Yi does too, the Yi and their team. That's why their Yi is constantly dying. You know, you're more of an anti-carry. You're supposed to go in after other people go in. You're not supposed to just run in and engage. You should come from the side, that's sort of like a flank. Try to catch someone off, as opposed to running in first. Especially because you can kill their carries pretty easily, pretty quickly. And you're going to get killed here, I think. Maybe not. Maybe, yeah, you get away. Wait, do you? No, you do get killed. Yeah. Alright, so Mundo's going to come up here. And this is the part I'm talking about. You're not going to actually be able to hold. So you're trying to hold this mid inhibitor against Mundo, but he's just wrecking you because that's how far behind you are. Your team is going to group up and say, hey, let's get rid of Mundo. We need to save our Riven who's getting wrecked. Tanking these towers and just getting wrecked. Your team groups up to take out Mundo. So your team basically comes and saves you so you can actually save the turret. And in doing so, they lose this tower. So that's the price of saving the guy who's behind. You're gonna lose the tower. And luckily for you, the other team is very unorganized. They have a Yi who likes to go in first, and Annie who initiates with the AoE stun, but the team doesn't follow up. All sorts of these small things um, that contribute to their game loss. Also, because you have a 22-5 Oriani or Oriana, so it's very hard for your team to actually lose this game because you just have someone who's super fed. Um, it's just ridiculously fed. And so, even though your contribution is kind of nil, you're 377, you've been behind all game, um, you guys still end up winning this game. Uh, there's not much for me to tell here. What's going to happen is a series of bad team fights for them, and you guys are going to win. But I hope that in watching this video, you've gotten a lot of insight on how to lane better, um, when to harass, itemization, how to build when you're behind. That's one thing that separates people in low elo and higher elo. Because the games tend to snowball pretty hard in lower elo, because people don't know how to build from behind and actually stay in the game. They just actually stay kind of out of the game. Once they get like behind, they just keep drifting farther and farther behind. Whereas in higher elo, people itemize and in a way that allows them to go back to lane, at least farm and sustain. And so I hope you learned a lot from this video, and if you do apply these concepts, then eventually you'll at least be able to get to high silver and possibly break into gold. There's some other things you gotta learn, like team fighting, but most people in like low silver don't actually know how to lane, and so a lot of times you can just kind of win lane, then proceed to win the game from there, assuming you know how to rotate. So yeah, just basically apply what I said at the beginning of the video in terms of laning and harass, and I wish you the best of luck.